Good evening and welcome back to another episode of the Pint-Sized Preview. It's another Thursday, although this may be the only one we ever record on I've forgotten what it's called. Every 4 years, I want to call it a gap year because that's what you call it at uni. I had it all lined up, ready to go, and I've forgotten the word. Never mind. It's the 29th of February. Comes down once every 4 years, whatever. I'm going to waste no time bringing in our guest this evening to stop rambling for a moment. Chris, good evening to you. How are you, mate? I think you might be on mute there, Chris.
I was just about to slate you, George, for getting your bit wrong, and then I realised I got my bit wrong as well. It's called a leap year, George.
Leap year, that's the one. I was thinking lunar year. That's not right. That's the Chinese thing. Gap year is what you get at university. Oh, what a nightmare. Still not as bad as last week's introduction, but we're sort of, getting low and low.
What happened with last week's? Because I must admit, I missed that. I wasn't allowed on. So what happened last week?
Blabbing on for about a minute, realised I was on mute like you and didn't have my video playing. It was just a background.
Other than that, absolutely perfect.
Other than that, perfect. And hopefully we're going to get back into the drift of it and have a good half hour or so.
Because talking of perfect, I've got a Green King IPA tonight. So it's not Rebellion, it's not as good, but actually, seeing as they haven't bloody got back to us and sponsored us yet, fuck them. I'm having Green King, much better.
And you've almost finished it as well, starting early tonight.
I have, yeah. I've already had one meeting tonight to discuss things all Wickham, and needed a beer to get through that. So here we go.
Excellent. Good choice as well. And like you say, Rebellion Beer, where's that sponsorship deal?
Exactly. Sort it out, lads.
And let's bring Aaron in. Evening to you as well, mate.
Evening, gents. All right?
Not bad. How are we doing?
Yeah, all good, mate.
Have you got a beer with you down this evening?
I have, yeah. It was the only thing I could find left in the cupboard. I need to go shopping at some more, but...
Was that a Siski?
Yeah, it's Polish lager.
I'm sure it's very nice.
They do quite decent lagers over there, though.
Yeah, not bad.
Decent. Right, we were meant to have a forfeit this evening, courtesy of Jaden, but he's buggered off to the darts. So we're spared for another week, which is fantastic. I don't think James got any of his League One predictions right at the weekend either, so we're free on that front as well, which means we can start rambling about Wycombe Wanderers and the week that was. So we'll start with last Saturday, of course. And we're going to take a slightly different approach, maybe to, I guess, other outlets, let's say. And we're going to praise Stevenage, aren't we, Chris, to start off with? Because all the stick and the shit we've given them in recent weeks, it's becoming increasingly obvious sort of how good they are at what they do and how much that infuriates fans across the division.
Yeah, I think there's been certain comments that I've seen that I found a bit uncomfortable and a little bit cringe, if I'm completely honest. You know, I think regardless of anything that we or anybody else might think of Steve Evans and some of the things that have happened in the games, you know, the table doesn't lie. And at this point of the season, when most of the games are being played, for them to be anywhere near the playoffs, given the signings of the players that they've got, is an incredible achievement. I mean, we're talking about a side, you know, that has got Nick Freeman, who's played most of the games of the season, and there wouldn't be many Wycombe fans who, at the end of last, would have said that we would have wanted to have kept him. You know, if we're, you know, a bit part player, probably at best, and he's gone into a side and performed extremely well. I think you've got to give credit where credit's due. You know, again, regardless of what you think of him, Steve Evans is an excellent manager. Most clubs that he takes over are in a significantly better position when he leaves, to the point when he's signed as well. You know, they are incredibly difficult to play against. They're exactly the kind of side that we find really hard. And I think, well, from our position, where, you know, I think we need to be fair, is there isn't a great deal of difference. I know this is something you've said and touched on from what we see that they've played. to what we did when we were successful under Gareth Ainsworth. And if we're going to praise like ourselves for overachieving for that time and playing in that way, then I think it's really important that we're consistent, that when another side does it, that we equally praise them as well.
Mm-hmm. We'll come on to sort of what Wycombe did badly, not just last weekend, but in the previous meeting. Although the first meeting, there was obviously the injuries and everything else. But, Aaron, 2 1-0 wins for Stevenage against us. It's not a coincidence, is it, that they keep picking up these 1-0 wins? Very, very efficient, very, very good at what they do. And as Chris said, the table doesn't lie at this stage.
Yeah, no, we were just saying before we came on air, like, as much as we hate, and Chris Evans as a bloke is
Chris Evans?
I was going to say Chris Evans catching.
Steve Evans as a man is, well, as Kai would say, is a lot of words for him, but as a manager, you can't argue he's doing a good job. And like Chris said, most clubs that he goes into, when he leaves, they're in a better position. For a squad they've got, like Chris said, they're probably overachieving. If they get playoffs, it's a huge achievement for them, and he's got to be in the running for manager of the season, despite him being a bit of a knob as a bloke.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's only a knob if you're not a fan of a team that he's manager of. If you're a Stevenage fan right now, you're going to be absolutely loving him. And at the end of the day, he's not paid to be liked by me and you, is he? He's paid to do a job for Stevenage, to be loved by them. And, one of his things that he'll be doing at the moment is creating a siege mentality where he can create this them and us attitude, and then really build on that, and build on, the negativity or the positivity, whatever way you look at it, from that to feed the rest of their season.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree, with half the comments I've seen get thrown in his direction. But he's very, very good at what he does, both, on the pitch at full times and in his presses. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to wind up these people, as you say, to create an us versus them mentality. And he's really, really quite good at it.
Yeah.
Well, look, if we're being completely honest, if he was manager of us right now, and this isn't a criticism or trying to suggest anything about Matt Bloomfield, but if he were manager with our squad, would we be in the position that we're in? And I'd suggest we'd be significantly higher with the squad what we've got. Now, that's not to say that I want him to be manager or that I think we should change, because I definitely don't think that. I think we're along a different path now, and I think it's a path that I hope works out well. But the point of saying it is that what he does, and what he does particularly well, and what he's doing at the moment, is he gets a group of players and he molds them into a team, very much like a certain manager we used to have, and gets them to perform significantly above what you would expect them to perform.
Yeah. I mean, this is what you were saying, Chris, just earlier. I mean, their marquee signing in the summer was Nick Freeman. Plenty of decent business around the squad, but actually the signing that you thought stood out amongst all else was a player that, didn't... he featured a lot for us, but, most times off the bench and was a squad player at best. I mean, we were speaking, Aaron, about the Manager of the Year awards before going live. I mean, Steve Evans... as much as we hate him, and probably rightly so, he's got to be able to shout, hasn't he?
You would think so, yeah. Will he get it because maybe he's not the popular bloke as a person? Potentially that might stop him getting it. But the job he's done, yeah, you can't argue with it. He's done a brilliant job. And like I say, if they get playoffs, it's a massive achievement for a club like Stevenage. It's good as when we, like us getting playoffs and stuff, and saying Ainsworth and how much a good manager he was getting us to overachieve, then you've got to give credit to him that they're overachieving. He's done a brilliant job.
Mm-hmm. I think that's enough Stevenage praise. I'm going to have a headache sat here doing this. It doesn't quite feel right. We still think that Steve Evans is a massive tool. Massive is the right word to use as well. Let's talk about what Wycombe necessarily didn't do right then, Chris. One of the performances that we've become almost accustomed to, definitely sort of before Christmas, very timid, very passive.
Yeah.
Against a team like Stevenage, you can't afford to be off the ball. You've got to be on it and want it. And I don't think we did.
No, we didn't. I mean, My comments about Stevenage, what I'm going to say now, kind of are also going to feed into when we talk about Barnsley later, and also actually is a positive way to when we talk about Cheltenham also. I think when you look at our season as a whole, there's been a certain group of games which we've performed well in, and a certain group of games where we haven't performed well in. And generally speaking, those games where we have a greater percentage of possession than the opposition are the ones that we've really struggled in. And generally, we've performed well in the games where we've allowed the other team to have the ball and we're able to find the gaps and the spaces. And I think that the Stevenage game, I saw that, and then Cheltenham, which we'll talk about later, has been two really big tests to see where this team has developed and if it has developed from where they were at the point of Christmas when actually things looked really low. We were going against a team who were everything that we used to be. And I think what we really struggled to in that game was to take to maintain the discipline. And I think that's the key. When you play a side like Stevenage, you have to maintain your discipline in all aspects so that if they are going to create a chance or create chances, that they really have to work for them. And I think that was the disappointing element, is there were certain little bits that just made it that bit harder for ourselves. And I don't think against a side like Stevenage you can afford to do that, because they will pounce on those opportunities. And once they get into the lead, that's when they are incredibly difficult to break down and to score against.
Mm-hmm. We'll come on to the obvious lapse in concentration in just a moment. But I guess let's touch on what Chris was saying, Aaron, that when Stevenage go into the lead, very, very tough to break down, and especially conceding in that manner where Wycombe were on top for the first 20 minutes and looked really quite decent. The forced change with Vincent Young going off, but Wycombe once again the makers of their own downfall.
Yeah, been the case quite often this season that we've made it a lot harder for ourselves than it needs to be, and like you just said, made our own downfall. They're a hard team to break down and go 1-0 down like that, and then obviously later on, not long after half time, the red card and stuff, it kills the game for us, and makes it a lot harder task than we needed it to be. But unfortunately, there's been a bit of that this season, and I think the game just gone as well at home was, for most of it, was harder than it needed to be. They didn't really have a shot, and we struggled to do much against them still when we should have been 1-0 up before that.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the red card then, Chris. It's since gone down a serious foul play. So I'm not sure what highlights they've seen, but a mistake from Tafazoli, and then Stojanczyk, really through no fault of his own, gets caught in no man's land.
No, it was a red card. It was that helpless situation. I don't quite know what Taff was doing. I think perhaps he misjudged whereabouts on the pitch he was, the distance between him and Stojanczyk quite, and where the attacker was. I don't really know. But it was a red card. Was it serious foul play? Bloody hell no. It's a 1-game ban. But given who we've got this weekend and what happened in the last time, maybe it's a little bit of a bloody relief that it is a 3-game ban, but he's not playing because we can't have a balls up of last time against this.
I'm not sure really what much there is to go through from the Stevenage game. I think we've pretty much covered the main thing. Stevenage being quite good, Wycombe being quite poor. I guess the only other question, Aaron, is Wycombe 1 shot on target. There seems to be no in between, really. We either have 1 or no shots on target, or 15 and 20, but we seem to be scoring the same number of goals regardless.
Yeah, I don't really know why we can sometimes have loads of shots against teams we maybe not expect us to, and then teams when you'd expect us to give them a bit of a go, and we just can't do anything with it. I don't know if we're trying to overcomplicate it or what. I mean, there's players in there that have got to be high enough on confidence and to take shots on, but it just doesn't seem to click for some reason. I can't really work out why.
What do you think of the penalty shouts, by the way?
One's definitely not.
No.
The one on Vokes is, and the whole reason behind not giving it because he's a big lad basically is just a load of shit, isn't it? Like, I kind of got it to a point with Bayo, like, all right, he's the strongest bloke going, fair enough to a point, but if it's a foul, it's a foul. But there's players the same size as Vokes, and I've never had that kind of comment before against someone.
I mean, surely it's more of a penalty if he's managed to wrestle someone like Sam Vokes to the floor in the manner he has. Surely it's more of a foul then.
You would think so.
It's quite backwards, isn't it? You wrestle a massive bloke like Sam Vokes to the floor, but what's he meant to do? Wrestle him back and get a free kick the other way?
It's a hard job, though.
Wall penalty.
It's a hard job.
Right, let's.
Thank God someone's not on here tonight. Oh God, my ears wouldn't be able to bear it.
He would have you, absolutely.
He would, potty mouth Kyle. We're not allowed to say those naughty words anyway.
No, absolutely not. Although I think we've been good for a few weeks actually, so maybe we'll win it back from the fans.
Well, there you go then. Hopefully they can make heroes out of all of us.
Right, Tuesday then, and I want to work backwards on that game because I want to get the positives out of the way first before we talk about the rest of the game. Chris, Beverly Labala with his first goal for Wickham and a goal of the season contender.
Bloody hell, what a goal. Honestly, it's brilliant, wasn't it? We haven't had that many goals so far where we thought, God, that is just a proper worldie. And I think we saw one on Saturday as well. And I think hopefully, it's a sign of what could come for the rest of this season. It's just a bloody brilliant strike. Mm-hmm. Yeah, loved it.
I mean, I'm trying to think of similar Wickham goals where they sort of picked it up outside the box and curled it into that top bins. Most recent one I can think of was probably Fred on Yadimma against Scunthorpe many years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. I can't think of too many since then where he sort of actually curled it high. I know the Met, he scored a few of them, but if you're talking top corner, that's the first one in a few years.
Yeah, it's a quality goal, and I'm pleased with him. He's got a bit of, he likes to show a bit of passion. He seems to give it all for the club, a bit like we had with Killian Phillips earlier in the season. And yeah, a goal's going to do in the wider good, especially a goal like that. And hopefully now, sort of a slightly more crucial time of the season. Although I think the Wembley game, but in the league we're there and thereabouts. We're going to stay in that kind of position. But yeah, hopefully he'll kick on now and get a few more and see a bit more from him.
Do you know, I think him performing well for the rest of the season, and actually, even though I know he can't be involved in the Wembley final, I actually think it's going to be really, really crucial, because what I think we need to be in a position for by the time we play Wembley, in order to give us the best chance, is first of all to take any talk of a relegation battle completely out of a window, and that's where the next couple of games are going to be. The other thing I think we need is, given the way our transfer windows have worked with players who had been eligible, leaving, and then players joining, such as Labala and Kadua, and Chen Campbell as well, no longer being available as well. There's only actually a small group of players who we can play in that game. And I think making sure that those players, such as McCleary, are fresh for the final, is going to give us the best chance. So I think where Labala's form is really, really important is it gives us the opportunity, if he can continue that, of actually resting McCleary or resting Dave Wheeler or resting whoever, Kieran Sadlier, so that actually we can go into that match and really have the best opportunity. So I think that's going to be really important. And I think we saw on Tuesday, the first time where we actually thought, I think, yeah, we've got a player here.
Mm-hmm. I mean this in the most respectful way possible to him, but when we brought him in, a few question marks and eyebrows were raised that we've sort of signed, I guess, just an average League One winger. Not a great goal return at Burton, but actually he seems to be a player, Chris, that is really, really easy to like. He seems to be a good person. I mentioned it on Tuesday, not just because of his goal, but as you mentioned, lots of passion. He shows an awful lot on the pitch, and a player who I'm finding it personally very, very easy to fall in love with.
Yeah, he seems quite personable, doesn't he? Already with his Twitter messages and what he's put onto social media. I think it's always quite telling. I remember when because it was announced he was leaving Burton before it was announced that he was joining us, and I think it was quite interesting when he announced that he was leaving, that the messages that the Burton fans like were posting about him, and they're all very positive, not just in the way that he was, but also in the way that he played.
Yeah.
And then it was also quite interesting when it was announced where he was going to, how those messages suddenly quite changed as well. And I think that's quite telling also. I think the fact that he was at Colchester previously, wasn't he? And he was there while Bloomfield was there, wasn't he?
I think they're past.
He was briefly.
Yeah. So I mean, I know like short time, not the difference, but I think things like that are always telling as well. When managers have worked with particular players, and particularly when it's a player they haven't signed, and then they look to re-sign them as well, then actually I think that suggests that there's a lot that they know, not just about their playing ability, but also their character, where they think they're going to fit into the team well. He's certainly the type of player that we needed, and I think you can see with the signings that we made him in transfer window, and particularly him as well, where this team could go in terms of an attacking unit for next season as well, and it being much more about power and pace. A lot of the attributes that he has, and also like the attributes that say Richard Kone also has as well.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to spend too much time gassing up Beverly Labala, but very, very clear that he has got the connection with Bloomfield, like you say, Chris. He scored a goal, gone straight over to the gaffer, celebrated with him. But also, I'm pretty sure that Burton offered him a quite a substantial contract to stay, and he's turned it down to take I wouldn't say a sideways move, but based on league position this season, it's a move to a club of sort of similar shape, which I guess is really telling and fortuitous in our favour. Let's talk about the rest of the game. Aaron Jolo back in the Golden Boot race, finally. His first goal in 25 or 30 games. He's got himself back in the frame.
To be fair, what's our top goal scorer? You say it as a joke. But
I think Leahy's on 5, and I think Jolo is now on 4. So he's there. Yeah.
So he generally is, but he's start of the season he was scoring in fun, and it's been a while, but he's been solid in defence for the last few weeks, and nice one to get up the other end and get a goal. We needed it desperately at that point. Like, I think most people there were thinking, it's going to be one of those games again when it just doesn't go in for whatever reason. I know I was talking to Ben that was stood with me, and we were like, it's going to be that like game that we've had too often this season where we've huffed and puffed and not really done much with it. Crucial goal, and I think Chris mentioned about being safe. I think we're pretty much there now, aren't we, with that, and with them losing as well.
Mm-hmm. You'd like to think so. I think 8 points is the gap now.
Yeah.
And I know that me and Chris both went for a 1-0 Cheltenham win on Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, after 75, 80 minutes, I was like, this is a banker.
Yeah. I'd already started planning what we were going to get everyone to do, George.
I thought after 80 minutes, we really had it. But no. I mean...
But that's credit, though, to the team.
Yeah.
Because it would have been easy for heads to drop after not too many gilt-edged chances, but plenty of openings where we look, fairly dangerous. And when they just sort of keep landing the keeper's hands, it can be demoralising. But
and don't forget you have a lot of penalty saves as well. How many games? Aaron's just touched on it. Like, how many games have we seen? Even before just this season as well, where we go into it and it's, we struggle to break a side down. And it backs up my point earlier when I was talking about the Stevenage game, and those games where we've actually really struggled, where we've had the majority of possession. And I think Tuesday night was actually a really significant game, a home match where we were going to have the majority of the ball, although I think it was like 55%, what we could do with that as well. And I think, particularly when you get to 80 minutes or so and you still haven't scored at that point, there's been so many games and situations where we've then ended up like suffering a sucker punch. And I know like you were talking about before we came on air about, was it a good performance or was it not? And, I think the fact is, we restricted them to no chances. We may not have had loads ourselves, but sometimes there's a lot to be said for a good performance being one that restricts the other team to nothing. Mm-hmm. And so from that side, really pleasing as well. And then, to come up with a 2 late goals, really significant. And I think that's a huge win.
Mm-hmm. Let's just very quickly touch on Jolo a bit more, Aaron, because, it's the business end of the season, which means we're getting closer to the summer transfer window. And, naturally, he's going to be a player on plenty of club shopping lists. I mean, it's that sort of time where we've got to enjoy him while we can, because the chances of being in next season are probably slim to none.
Yeah, I think there was at least one, if not more, wanted him in January, wasn't there? And summer, I can't see him staying, but you never know. Maybe think another year of playing every game basically, and at a level that he's just kind of got comfortable with, maybe. But I can't see it. He's a quality player. He's still young, and I would imagine he'll get a move back towards Championship somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Let's keep working backwards then from the 2 goals, and I think we next come to the missed penalty, another one. We've only scored 6 out of 10 this season. I mean, I'm struggling to keep count of who's missed and who's scored them all. Who is your shout, Chris, to take them going forward? Because it seems like Luke Lee, he doesn't want them anymore, and then everyone else who takes them seems to be missing them.
See, I would have said go back to Luke Leahy, because he started off the season as the penalty taker. He's had a good record as well. And the reason why he started off the season as a penalty taker is because he was our best penalty taker. His record showed that as well, or he's deemed to be within the club. I think it's one of those situations what I think might have happened now is a bit of like a scrambled brain, scrambled minds kind of situation. Are you right, Aaron?
Now he's frozen.
Yeah, I just realised a really unfortunate face. I thought something gone wrong there. Is it just me and you talking now, then, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still surprised. I know he's never really took him. I'm still surprised Vokes has never hasn't stepped up and took one. I know he's never really been a penalty take, but yeah, I'm surprised. But
I don't know. See, I always think penalties are more. They're not necessarily. They're not an ability thing, because actually, like scoring from 10 yards or whatever, actually should be pretty easy for any player. Quite straightforward. I think it's more dealing with a situation and the mind games and the things around and the pressure on that side, and having like a clear mind and a clear way of thinking. And that's what I think where the problem is at the moment is a bit of muddled thinking in terms of, right, who's the penalty taker, who's taking them, sod it, they're on them.
Yeah. I was surprised.
What would your penalty technique be?
I always think just hit it high and in the back, sort of in the corner. I don't like the whole place. The keeper's always good. If you put it high, you've got a fairly good chance. So
if you've got a penalty tomorrow, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right foot thwack, top bins.
Yeah, I think they're less likely to get it. You put it down on the floor, there's more chance, but it's a bit of luck, let's be honest. The keeper goes the other way, and we're saying Potts has coolly slotted it away, and yeah, it's one of them.
I thought it was a bit soft.
What, the actual
tickled? No, he shot. He tickled the ball. He was flirted with it.
Yeah, he tried to be a bit clever, didn't he, and just roll it in, and yeah, keeper goes the other way. It's nerves of steel kind of thing for a young lad, but it just didn't work. We're watching the Bradford game the other day. That was kind of my thing. We're not good at penalties at the moment. If it goes to penalties, I was like, we'll miss 2 or 3 here. And as soon as Potts stepped up, I said, I just don't know. I don't know why we keep changing it. Just stick with someone. Don't changing all the time.
Yeah, just know what you're gonna do. Fucking kick it.
Yeah,
give it a whack.
Yeah. Well, my bit of worry if we go to penalties at Wembley, fuck me, we've got about 3 or 4 players that will miss it at this moment.
Is it just me and you now for the rest of it? Are we just talking crap now for the next bit?
Yeah. We could just take over and talk about anything.
We could, couldn't we? I mean, I actually had a question, by the way, tonight.
Oh no!
Don't go. Oh no!
Your questions
Ask
are
you a
weird.
question.
That would be like, what would you
This
rather
isn't.
put mayonnaise?
No, this isn't as weird. It's not
Okay,
totally
go on.
weird. Okay, so basically, you get a message, and you're told your freezer at home is about to blow up, and you are only allowed to save one thing in your freezer. It's what you've actually got in your freezer right now. So, and I'm going to predict what I think you're going to say. What you going to save from your current freezer?
I'm not quite sure what this has got to do with football, but we'll go with it.
I know, but we're just filling time until George can be bothered to come back.
I don't know.
I mean, this is a good chat, isn't it?
Ice
You got
cream.
an ice cream.
Yeah.
Are you talking like a whole tub?
No, like a Magnum, like a little box of individual ones.
So have you got a box of Magnums in there then, have you?
Yeah, I like a chocolate ice cream.
Yeah. Do you prefer chocolate ice cream? Do you know what? I knew you were going to say that, and no, I haven't. If we've got it, I don't think we have it at the moment. Oh, well, funny you say that. I would have actually said like a whole tray, like 20 pigs in blankets, because I've got my bowl of mayo here. So actually, it would go really well. I reckon I could polish off at least 40, but I don't think we've got any in at the moment. So I'd probably go for a nice, like a cornetto. We've definitely got a cornetto.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, here he is.
I was just putting a message on the group chat to basically warn him that Chris has taken over with.
Yeah, we were saving the night, George.
I'm not quite sure what had happened. I think my mum and dad are fiddling with the technology downstairs, which
did you hear
only ever
Chris's
going to end
question,
one way.
George?
Oh dear. I had a look at my phone. That still image was horrendous.
Yeah, it's not your best look.
I'm glad that eventually made its way off the screen. That was not pretty.
We filled it with a quiz question.
Oh, I'm interested now.
Okay, should I ask it, Aaron? Well, actually, no, I don't care what you can say. I'm going to ask it anyway, even if you say no.
You're going to ask it. I just don't quite know what it's got to do with football. But
it's got nothing whatsoever to do with football, but it has got everything to do with filling time. So, right, so here's my question. Right, you get a message. Your freezer is about to blow up, and you're only allowed to save one thing in your freezer. It's what you've got in there right now. What one thing from your freezer you're going to save?
Pack of bacon. I love bacon.
You've got bacon in your freezer?
Yeah. I love bacon. Absolutely adore the stuff. I'd say
Danish, or just any?
Smoked. It's got to be smoked.
Aaron's about to get a tub of ice cream out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a half-eaten tub in there, but I don't think that's worth saving.
Sorry?
I've got a half-eaten tub of Ben and Jerry's fish food. I don't think that's worth
saving.
Oh,
yeah. Their tubs aren't quite big enough.
About the same size as a jar of mayonnaise, Chris.
I know, and that's not big enough either. We had a lovely jar of Hellman's today. I would say it's probably the best mayo I've had in quite some time. It was really, really good with tonight's dinner.
You had the whole jar? Or...
Sorry?
Did you eat the whole jar?
Not in one sitting, no. I mean, I've got like my bowl here. That had a hefty amount. I've still got a little bit left. So once we finish here, I'll polish that off with a slice of a kid's leftover pizza. And I wonder why I'm not in peak physical health condition.
George is frozen again.
Yeah, I might need George to put his football match back a couple of years if I'm going to be able to play this year.
Oh, that was great fun last year.
I'm hoping that I'll get like a left wing role, like my creativity.
I played right back, and a certain fan of ours who's commenting quite a lot on here at the moment flagged for handball when my hand was basically behind my back.
Topless Tim's a cock, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Oh, he's
That's just me and you again, bloody hell.
Yeah, what are we talking about now? What else was in the game that we could talk about? We talked about the penalty. Do you know what I still don't get? Why does Sadlier come off at about 60, 70 minutes every game?
I wonder if it's some. I reckon it's something to do with fitness.
It's got to be. He's our best player at the moment.
I always fear the worst when he comes off.
I do. I stood with Ben and we were like, he's got to be bringing Kona, and he took him off. And as much as I love Dave Wheeler, it went up sadly for Wheeler. It's like, what? But why has he done that? I mean, he goes and gets the assist, but still.
So that's why he's done that. What do you know?
Manager.
Exactly. So no, like you, I do. See, I still see Kieran Sadler probably being better in some ways from an attacking perspective, the role that Dale Taylor plays. But I think he will play it a very, very different way, and I can see why Bloomfield goes for Dale Taylor, who reminds me a lot of himself in that period when we were so successful as well. Because I do think Dale Taylor is an incredibly underrated player, and I think had he not been signed with the idea that he was a striker, because he is a striker, but signed as a footballer, I actually, without that pressure, that expectation of scoring the amount of goals we hope that he will get, I think we'd have a very different view on him, because actually what he does in the game, a lot of it is unseen, a lot of it is underrated. And I think, his work rate from that position has made us, since Christmas in particular, very, very difficult to play against.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see next season wherever he ends. And I do kind of think there's actually a little bit of a chance of us keeping him, whether another loan or sign him. Be interesting to see if he goes somewhere else, whether they stick him back in as a striker, or whether it's a bit of a he's still a young conversion to drop him back a bit further. But I wouldn't be surprised if we signed him, to be fair.
No, I think it'd be a really good sign. I hope we do. I mean, going back to could brought him up because of Kieran Sadler, and I think he will play in a different role. I think from a creativity point of view, allowing him a role where he could move in both directions, and I think his vision that he sees in terms of his passes, is very, very good. And I think part of a problem, although I think it makes sense when you have somebody like Ken Vincent Young behind, who will look to stretch and go behind, which obviously we don't have at the moment. The one issue I think I have with him is predominantly he goes back onto his right side. And at least if he's more in a central position, there's that bit of unpredictability of where he's going to go necessarily, which is where I think he would work quite well.
Yeah. Still, I don't know. I still don't get some of our signings this season as much as some of them have worked out. Change the subject a little bit. Like Saxon early, we've not seen him yet at all. Kadua,
he's been injured, hasn't he?
Is it? I thought he was fit when I don't know. Maybe he has. Kadua's not really. Well, one game, but he's not really done a lot. I don't think we'll see much of him. Some interesting signings.
Yeah.
I think who else have we got that's not really played? It's probably about it, those two. Yeah.
Where was he?
I don't actually know. He's not even commented on the group chat, so I'm assuming his internet's completely gone off. So I was just trying to look at. I'm assuming he's completely gone.
Kind of a bit lost without him.
Yeah, a little bit. What do you reckon at the weekend? I don't see it.
I think we're going to perform well. I do think that. I think, going back to kind of what I was saying earlier, Barnsley, I think, have one of the highest possession stats. Within the league, a lot quite high, and I think that actually suits us at the moment in the way that we play, and we do play better against the sides who have the majority of the ball, because it then allows us to sit back, to remain quite tight, and then where the spaces open up to exploit. And players like McCleary are excellent at doing that. So I think the performance will be good. Whether or not the performance will be good enough to get the win, I think will be the tough bit as well. But I certainly think we'll play well. And I think Barnsley's form has been really strong this side of Christmas, isn't it? I think it's Leighton and I think slightly higher.
Yeah, I just think they'll be too much for us. I mean, to be fair, it might be the kind of game that it's actually possibly more of a game that we prefer than the Cheltenhams, the Port Vales. They seem to be the ones we really struggle with at the moment.
Yeah.
Teams that they sit back and we just can't break them down. We kind of look a bit
strikers
in those. Same lineup, different?
I reckon there'll probably be a couple of changes. Wouldn't be surprised. Folks has played 2 games in a row now, hasn't he?
Yeah. I wonder if
So-
Lamar might off his goal as well.
Yeah. So that's possibly one. Again, McCleary played Tuesday. Didn't seem to play like 2 full games on the spin quite as much now. So I have to see. I think the defensive partnership, Lowe and Taffer look really strong. Like, so obviously you keep that. Yeah, there'll be a couple of changes. I think. Just don't know, do you? Be interesting in the midfield. I think that will be one because Potts came off early, didn't he? And whether or not that was an injury or tiredness or amount of minutes or not. So just wondered, would he go for a Scow and Butcher midfield?
I thought he might.
I wouldn't be surprised in that.
Just to get some more minutes into Scowen back from the injury.
Yeah.
Like he's not played a full game yet. I feel that was more of a get some minutes back in him. He's Butcher's been the one to make way from him a bit, and maybe that was why. I don't know. Maybe it's a knock. Hopefully not, because I think we really struggle without Potts. Now we've got Butcher. Maybe we won't as much. I'd like to see Labala given a start after the goal, and hopefully a bit of confidence in him.
Yeah.
Sadly, obviously, he's got to start if he's fit.
I think he's one of the first names on the team sheet, really, isn't he?
He's got to be now. Him, the 2 centre backs.
Yeah. Potts.
Yeah, I don't
kind of, sort of.
I wonder if I could see possibly a Scowen and Butcher midfield and sit back a bit. Try and stop them playing a bit more of a counter-attacking side. I can't see winning. I just think there'll be too much.
Yeah, well.
Right. We've not heard from him, so I'm assuming his power's gone off in his house or something.
Exactly. Or he's been kidnapped by DJ.
Well, maybe. I mean, Jaden's at the darts tonight, isn't he? So DJ's got.
So he says, or is he with DJ in the Love Dungeon?
The Love Dungeon.
Right. So I reckon, is it time for us to sign off now?
I reckon we wrap it up. If
right.
Should we do our score prediction and what we normally do?
Okay. Should we just make up the score predictions for everyone else?
I think George has got to have the forfeit, whatever Jaden picks, just for tonight's shit show.
Yeah.
Whatever he picks, he can
for leaving us in the lurch, basically.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, his message.
I'm not. What? Saw someone come up.
Immediate fix. Yeah, he's gone.
What's that? He's gone.
Yeah, he said he can't fix it at the moment, basically.
So what do you reckon?
I reckon a 2-0 loss. I know it won't be a popular one, but I just think their form since Christmas has been pretty much perfect, bar the odd 1 or 2. And it might be a game that suits us, but we seem to be at the moment a bit of a huff and puff and really struggle, and either a last minute, like the last game, or just the Stevenage game. Where I think even with 11 men, I don't think we beat Stevenage at that point. After they scored, I think they just sit back and we can't break things down. So
I'm going to go. Despite me saying we're going to struggle, I'm going to say we're going to win 2-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea why. I can't make a single plausible reason for it, but we're going to win 2-1.
Who's going to score?
Sam Vokes with his arse and a Jolo bullet header in the 91st minute when it's 1-1 to score. And when that happens, I'm going to remind you of it on the terrace.
Wow, if we're not on the floor upside down where we've been piled
exactly. What did DJ say the score was going to be?
What, the other night or?
No, tonight for this game. Is it 11-2? 11-2. What did Kyle say the score was going to be?
DJ would have gone 15-15, wouldn't he?
Yeah, so 15-15 locked in. Kyle,
I can't see him picking us win. He'll probably say we get battered like 4-0.
George.
I reckon George would back us to win 1-0, 2-1. Just nick it.
See, you're far too bored. We could have gone stupid with these scores.
James will
You're
sit on the
knobhead.
fence. He'll go 0-0 or 1-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
And Jaden will probably
Who else have we got?
get it right somehow.
Harry. What about Harry? I forgot about Harry there for a moment.
Harry.
Posh Harry. Polite Harry.
I don't know.
Do you know, Harry's the kind of person, I think, if you had a daughter, not you, obviously, because you're far too young, and they brought Harry home, I think you'd be delighted.
Yeah.
I think if they brought home DJ, you'd be devastated.
I was going to say, if they brought home DJ, maybe not.
No.
I mean, yeah. What if they brought home Kyle?
Well, I mean, considering he's about 72 years of age, you know, you'd be a little bit worried, to be honest. Yeah, potty mouth. And he's barely got his own hair now, anyway.
Hi, Kyle, if you're watching.
Yeah.
Right, should we call it a day? We've lost George.
Yeah. Well, all the best, and I'll see you Saturday, mate.
I don't know how we end this with.
He's black. He deserves to come back.
We were just asking, like, if we leave, is it just going to leave a blank screen play until you get your internet back?
It would literally just leave a blue screen. I'm not sure what had happened.
We've saved the night, George.
We have.
I mean, the live viewers are an evening high, so you must be doing something right.
Really? Why? Is that one and that's you trying to get back on?
Oh, dear me.
We spoke about Sadlier and who else did we speak about? Sadlier and some of our signings that haven't really kicked on and done a lot, like Kadua and maybe over the next few weeks.
Mm.
Yeah. And then I'd say Aaron's totally saved the show tonight.
I went that we're going to get battered and lose 2-0. And Chris reckons we're winning. Joe Lowe's scoring in the 90th minute in front of the terrace.
Yeah.
I've got to back us for a win.
See, I said he'd back us to win.
You did actually, didn't you? You did say that.
DJ would say 15-15 because he seems to like the ask questions.
And we complimented Harry, didn't we? Nice guy, Harry.
You said, posh Harry, if your daughter came home with him, you'd be very pleased. Whereas Kyle would come home and say, nice to meet you, you can't.
Yeah.
I think I would disown any family member if they brought Kyle home, to be honest.
Maybe we should do a tier list. I mean, we were talking about tier lists last week with League One managers and their private parts. We should have a tier list.
Put us in tiers.
Yeah, the pint-sized preview crew, and we'd rather our daughters bring home.
See, I think Harry would be up there near Jesus, I think. You know, he's probably a rung or two below Jesus.
What? And then it's me, Kyle, and DJ at the bottom.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Carl's down there being mates with the devil. DJ is probably not far off. You know, I'll put you slightly higher.
I think it's just Harry at the top and everyone else joint last.
I don't see. Aaron brings out his mum to the football every couple of weeks, so that deserves a few bonus points. Like care for the elderly, it's lovely. Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine James. You'd meet James and he wouldn't offend you, whereas DJ, I mean, he might say.
I mean, just looking at his face is an offence.
Maybe we should do it with our viewers. Go through the comments. No, actually, let's not do that.
Oh, dear me.
We got any comments? You got?
Not really. Thomas has said, "Is the hamster back?" The hamster's fucking dead. Really.
Cheers, Tom.
He's doing a shit job. And Wilson said, "How I be hamster?" Rather fitting. I need one of those dongles that Jaden's been out and bought. You might have to send me one up from Devon.
Yeah. You want Jaden's dongle?
I might have to have it. I don't want it. I might have to have it.
I mean, there was also the thought that had DJ come and got you because obviously Jaden's at the darts and
yeah, he's lonely and reluctant.
I wouldn't put it past him making the quick dash down from Liverpool.
Yeah.
Keep him company.
Right, I need to go get some more mayo anyway.
The night,
Of course you
actually.
do.
That's quite nice of him. Yeah, he's let Jaden have the night off, which is very good. Actually.
Next time to run around, he can be new hamster.
No, not happening. Don't think I'd have a wheel big enough anyway. Well, I think you two have smashed it out of the park then. I don't think there's anything else to go through, is there?
Well, I was going to ask, if you were going to be a pet, what pet would you be?
What the fuck?
Say that again, Chris.
Well, let's just talk about, if you're going to be a pet, what pet would you be?
I reckon I would be a hamster because I would just make so much noise at night just to be
Would
a pain
you?
in the backside. Yeah.
You have to be a dog, wouldn't you? They just get treated the best.
Do you think? Do you like dogs?
What kind of dog are we talking? I think that's important.
Yeah.
Depends
I
what
don't know.
breed.
Just something standard, not a little tiny thing, and not something that's going to have to
Labrador.
through hoops. Yeah.
Plenty of walks, plenty of food. Yeah.
Mm.
I think I can get behind that.
Yeah, dog, yeah. I don't like being out in the cold though. So dogs have to go for a walk in the cold. At least, as you say, with a hamster, you can, you've got a little wheel for your exercise, and you can go and snuggle up in the shavings.
Shavings.
I just want to try one of those bottles they've got hanging through the holes.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I reckon they must. You got to better get some. So just fill it with vodka and just sit there and
Have a drunk hamster.
Every time I walk past them at work, I've got this unwavering, I just want to go and put my drink in it and have a go, but I'm worried the customers give me some dirty looks.
I mean, if I ever go in and you're just sat there drinking out the bottle, I will have to put it online. But
once I hand in my notice, I might
Have pets at home. Are there any other toys you've seen like an animal play with and you've just been a bit jealous? Like a hamster wheel? Have you thought, actually, that looks quite fun?
I mean,
I quite like,
more toy. Well, I say toys. He's got more to do than I have. He's got a huge, great big crate full of you name it. He's got it.
It's the problem of getting old. Your toys get crap.
Yeah. Well, they've got like these ball shooters. It's like a machine gun, but tennis balls. You press a button, it launches at 30 yards. They're wicked. They are great.
Chris could be a handbag dog. Is that his polite way of calling Chris like a little rat this time again?
Who's that?
Chris is a handbag dog.
A handbag dog? Who's called me a handbag dog?
There you go.
I mean, I'd rather be a handbag dog than a llama. I believe me, it would need a bloody big handbag to put me inside it. Need a forklift truck to lift it up. Bloody hell. Wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Are you putting in an appearance on Saturday, Chris, or are you not going to make it?
No, I'm there this Saturday. So you wait. I'm going to be there. I'm looking forward to going in to seeing the Caledonian.
Yeah, rather than watching it online and messaging me going, you look lonely and being like, well, there's no fucker.
You did. I actually felt a little bit sad for you seeing you on the terrace there on Tuesday.
Down the front with Dunlop and leant over the barrier for the second half.
Now that is a posh Ben.
Yeah.
All right.
I think there's places I need to wrap it up then.
Yeah. Any more comments to share?
I don't think so. I think Tom and Harrison are done bullying us all for the evening.
Yeah.
Although Thomas has said I won't be there. Well, we'll keep quiet on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, miss you, Tom.
Yeah.
We won't say much.
No. Never mind then. I mean, that was a shambles, but I still don't think it was as bad as last week.
At least it didn't go down the weird rabbit hole that it did last week.
No, I mean a few different rabbit holes, but nowhere near as deep as last week's discussion.
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much, Chris and Aaron, for joining me this evening. I don't know what else there's left to say. So that mental health panel is still yet to come. I'll see if I can share that on the screen because, again, it's worth shouting out. Where are we?
Yeah.
Here we are, 11th of March 2024, with the Berks and Bucks FA and the Wickham Foundation. And that should be a enjoyable evening. I think it's meant to be enjoyable. I'm starting saying it's enjoyable, but it's a chat on mental health. I think they're meant to be having a bit of fun with it. So
yeah, I've seen
yourself
like
down if that interests you.
a former referee or something going to talk about like the impact of. Might be interesting to hear when.
It looks like it could be an informative night. I've seen they've got the women's club captain there as well, and I'm sure they'll announce some stuff from the men's team. So
brilliant.
Yeah, that should look forward to.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much both for joining me. Enjoy the game on Saturday if you are heading down to church. I think we should be getting a win this weekend, hopefully. So again, should be an enjoyable game. Thank you very much both. We will see you all. There's no Tuesday game, is there, next week? No.
Off
the top of my head. Which means next Thursday we're back to preview the big trip to Reading, and hopefully we'll have a win to talk about from Saturday. Thank you very much, and we will see you all very, very soon.
Fuck off.